Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Nightly Scroll. Happy Wednesday evening to all of you. This episode is brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Together, we have fought for the same thing: faith, freedom, and the country we love. And one of our biggest supporters over the year has been Patriot Mobile. If you are part of the Bongino Army, you should be on Patriot Mobile. Trump may have won, but this is no time to rest. We have to keep supporting companies that share our values and stand for what we believe in. Switch to Patriot Mobile with confidence, knowing you will get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on all three major networks. You can even have two phones on two different networks on one single smartphone. Not only do you have the Silver Lock guarantee, you will get the Patriot Mobile coverage guarantee. Every dollar you spend supports a company that believes in our First and Second Amendment rights, the sanctity of life, our veterans, and first responders. Switching is easy. It only takes minutes from wherever you are. You can keep your number or you can upgrade. Their 100% US-based team will take great care of you. Go to patriotmobile.com/scroll or call 972-PATRIOT. Get a free month of service on sign up with code SCROLL. Once again, patriotmobile.com/scroll or call 972-PATRIOT. Just a reminder to everyone who is in the chat with me, these are all my homies who get to scroll with me. I love all of you. You can join them only on Rumble. Rumble.com/Haley is the only place you can watch Nightly Scroll. Of course, that brings you to the Bongino Report channel. Make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss a show. You'll get notifications. If you want to listen later on, you can do that. Go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can just search Nightly Scroll with Haley. Make sure you subscribe there as well. Leave 5 stars. Leave a nice review. This is my nightly reminder. So I thank you all of you for joining me. And I've got a big show on deck for you tonight. CBS's parent company coughs up $16 million to President Trump, all because they ran cover for Kamala Harris, deceiving their viewers into thinking she could string just one sentence together. Nice try. Liberals are up in arms over Alligator Alcatraz, claiming it's a concentration camp targeting black and brown people. Funny how they didn't give a rip when Obama did it. I've got an extra long tinfoil hat time segment today, and we're going to have a lot of fun in scrolling time. Let's get into it. All right, so President Trump is richer today, technically, thanks to the fake news media. He sued Paramount Global, that is CBS's parent company, for $10 billion. And then an amended version of that filing, he sought $20 billion, but they settled for $16 million earlier today. And it was all because of this video. This was the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris that was deceptively edited. Watch this.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Interesting, right? They tried to put lipstick on a pig and, of course, make it look like Kamala Harris knows what she's talking about should she have become the president of the United States and commander-in-chief. Imagine what would be going on with Israel and Iran with her at the helm. I don't even want to think about it. But CBS, they wanted you to think that she had everything under control. She knew what she was talking about. So they had to pick parts of the interview in which she had a more concise answer. Well, President Trump alleged that CBS's editing of the interview violated the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Consumer Protection Act, which makes it illegal to use false, misleading, or deceptive acts in commerce. And in this lawsuit, he argued that viewers could have been misled by the fact that CBS aired 2 different versions of an interview. CBS said that this lawsuit was meritless. It didn't doctor the interview or hide any parts of Harris's answers. Well, that's weird because they literally switched part of what she said in the beginning of the interview and used that as the answer to what was going on in Israel. pretty important if you're running to be the commander in chief to know what you're talking about when this is some of the largest issues on the world stage. Also interesting to note that Paramount did not agree to issue an apology on behalf of CBS and 60 Minutes. And so this $16 million will not go directly to President Trump or even indirectly to President Trump, nor is that money going directly nor indirectly to plaintiff Congressman Ronnie Jackson of Texas. So this will go to legal fees, and then the rest of the money will go to Trump's presidential library. Whenever Trump is out of office and he decides to build a library, that's where the money will go. Now, two major CBS News executives, people who worked, longtime producers on 60 Minutes and executive producers, they quit over the last few months saying that they didn't have journalistic independence, which begs the question, what does that mean? You weren't free to lie? So this is also hilarious because this is a Columbia University executive director of the Knight First Amendment Institute. This is what Jamil Jaffer said about this lawsuit. Today is a sad day for press freedom. He went on to say, Paramount should have fought this extortionate lawsuit in court, and it would have prevailed. Now, Trump's presidential library will be a permanent monument to Paramount's surrender, a continual reminder of its failure to defend freedoms that are essential to our democracy. Then another group, the Freedom for the Press Foundation, also threatened to sue Paramount if it settled with Trump. So we'll see if that happens. We'll see if groups now also sue Paramount for settling with Donald J. Trump. How does this make any sense at all? The press is not free to lie or deceptively edit their interviews to make Kamala Harris look good, to turn Kamala Harris into something that she never will be, which is competent and a well-spoken individual. She is not. So remember, President Trump also filed a libel lawsuit against ABC and Disney for $15 million at the start of this year. He just keeps winning. He's taking all the money from the fake news media. This presidential library is going to be badass if he keeps winning these lawsuits. Let me just say that. So here's the headline from earlier. Well, I guess it was last year, late last year. ABC agrees to give $15 million to Donald Trump's presidential library to settle defamation lawsuit. And again, this one all stemmed from claims made by host George Stephanopoulos that a jury had found President Trump guilty of raping E. Jean Carroll. That was not true. Sexual assault and rape are different. Stephanopoulos didn't make that distinction, and a lawyer said and argued that viewers could be misled by that and voters. So if you ask most Democrats, they will tell you that Trump is a rapist, although that is not true. ABC settled this defamation suit, agreeing to donate, like I said, $15 million to his presidential library. They also, so see how Paramount Global, they didn't issue an apology or a statement. ABC, Disney, ABC News, they did. They issued a statement saying they regretted the comments made by anchor George Stephanopoulos. And all of this got me thinking, because I saw the Paramount lawsuit go in Trump's favor. We saw the ABC, Disney lawsuit go in Trump's favor. And I thought, who's next, right? Who's next? And I thought about interviews that took place during the election cycle. And then Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, did a taped joint sit down with CNN. Remember how everyone was saying, this is so bad. She's got to do a joint interview with her running mate because he's got to handhold her through the interview. I don't know. I don't really know if that's true necessarily, because I don't think that Tampon Tim can hold much, but whatever. I thought that the interview was odd. Not that it was a taped sit down, but that's not really customary. You can tape, but the way that the interview took place was Dana Bash, she conducted the interview, they taped it ahead of time, and then the interview was about 20 minutes, not in total, they just aired about 20 minutes. And Dana Bash, she recorded raps around the clips, which is like, earlier I spoke with Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, and they told me about their views on the economy, and then it would go to the clip. So they didn't air the interview in full. You can tape an interview, but I think if you do that, you have to air the full interview. It has to be unedited, and you have to disclose that it was taped. And I mean, obviously, if Dana Bash is doing raps around the interview, you know that it was previously recorded. But when it's previously recorded, you have to understand that some of that interview probably hit the cutting room floor, and CNN probably only aired some of the good parts. I would be very interested to see that full interview, because the full interview, the full TRT, unavailable to the public. You can watch all the different parts on CNN's YouTube. And I remember watching that interview live, and we didn't see the whole thing. It was just what CNN wanted us to see. It was, here, earlier I asked Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz about XYZ. Here's the clip. Then I asked them about this. Here's the clip. Then I asked them to respond to President Trump's blah, blah, blah. Here's the clip. That's not transparent. That's not how you get a full picture of who these candidates are. I think interviews of politicians, especially presidential candidates, should be required to be live or live to tape, and they have to air the raw footage unedited. Otherwise, how can we believe anything that the mainstream media does is legit? We cannot. We just can't. So again, I don't know, should I put in a request for this? Should I sue CNN? I don't have the money to do that, but someone certainly should.
Take your shot.
No, I don't have enough money, but someone should definitely sue CNN and try to get that full video, or at least the transcript, and see how the transcript differs from what they actually put on air. I think that would be interesting. I want to get to the Diddy verdict. Today was the third day of the jury deliberations. They delivered their final verdict. He is found not guilty on one count of racketeering conspiracy. He was found not guilty on the 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, but the jury found him guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Those are the lesser of the charges. But a jury convicted him of those prostitution charges stemming from shipping escorts across state lines. Now, this was in violation of the Mann Act transportation counts, which, again, prostitution charges. Each of those carry a maximum prison term of 10 years. So we don't have the sentencing yet, but he can serve a maximum of 20 years for those 2 charges. But we do not know what he will be serving yet. However, he will be held without bail in the meantime. Now, I've reported this and I've stayed on this case because I find it interesting. I am a fan of rap music, not a fan of Diddy's per se, but I am a fan of 50 Cent, and 50 Cent hates Diddy. They are rivals. And Diddy has been 50 Cent has been hilarious on social media throughout this entire case, just trolling Diddy. I mean, he loves to see this. He's reveling in this. And he posted on Instagram saying that Diddy beat the Rico. He's a bad man. He's like the gay John Gotti, just trolling him. But the odd thing about what we saw today outside of the courthouse was that there were Diddy supporters, which is like a crazy thing to say out loud, but people lined up outside of the courthouse in support of Diddy, very excited that he was not found guilty on the RICO charges. A lot of these charges, or parts of these charges, were dropped, like the arson charges and anything, the breaking into Kid Cudi's house. These certain details of charges were dropped, and they couldn't get him on the sex trafficking charges or any of these larger charges. So Diddy's fans, very excited about that. Here is a video of people outside the courthouse reportedly yelling, "It's Freako, not Rico." They're having their own freak off, squirting baby oil on each other outside. Viewer discretion is advised. There's baby oil covering that man in the front. Now this woman, she's got her blue wig on. Uh-oh. Wig's coming off. Wig's coming off, and don't you worry, the baby oil is coming out. Just you wait. Just you wait. Here it goes. Squirting baby oil on people dancing outside of the courthouse. Well, I'm just a little speechless. It's gross. I don't know why you would support Diddy, and I don't know why you'd be acting like that, acting a fool in public. I wouldn't want to even be on camera supporting Diddy. Like, hello, digital footprint people. I wouldn't want to be involved. But in terms of these charges and potentially this lower sentencing that Diddy is getting, I think that the justice system is flawed. And, I wasn't in the courtroom. I wasn't a juror. I don't know everything that there is to know about the case. But Diddy didn't need thousands of baby oil bottles for himself. He wasn't using them alone. He wasn't acting alone. This isn't just some dude with a fetish and, he engages in some bizarre sexual behavior. This is a lot bigger than that. And I think it's unfortunate that they just didn't have the evidence to get him on these things for whatever reason. Or maybe, people are throwing out that, well, this is James Comey's daughter was a prosecutor and there's all these other conspiracies, right? I think you're rich and famous enough in this country and you get away with murder. That's how I think that this works. You have enough money, you have enough influence. And this is how I feel about Epstein as well. That Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, they took the fall, but for how many people? How many people were involved? Who were they selling sex to? And I have the same questions about Diddy. He didn't throw freak-off parties by himself. He was transporting prostitutes to who? This is obviously bigger than just Diddy. And they couldn't prove that he was this kingpin of a larger criminal investigation or organization. Personally, I don't buy that he wasn't involved in sex trafficking somehow. But that's just my opinion. I haven't seen the evidence. And based on this outcome, it seems like they just didn't have what they needed to get him on those bigger RICO and trafficking charges. I am disappointed, but not shocked. And that's my take on Diddy. I want to take a quick break to tell you about Blackout Coffee. Coffee lovers, this is what gets me up in the morning. My coffee, my cup of coffee in the morning, I look forward to it. I say this all the time. I used to be a 1 cup of coffee in the morning girl. Now I'm a 1 cup of coffee in the morning girl. Then I have one in the afternoon. Sometimes I have one before the show. This is turning into quite the addiction that I wasn't expecting, but I love Blackout that much. And I don't mess around when it comes to my coffee. That's why I drink Blackout, and you should too. They're a small batch, family-owned roastery right here in Florida. They craft bold, premium coffee that actually delivers on flavor. None of that burnt corporate nonsense. So if you like it strong, you like it black, you like it smooth, a little cream, they've got a roast for you and they've got a flavor for you. Ton of flavors. And they ship fresh to all 50 states. So wherever you are, you can get your hands on it. And because you scroll with the homies, you can get 20% off your first order. Just use code Haley, that is HAYLEY at checkout, or hit up blackoutcoffee.com/Haley to grab your bag. I love it. I drink it every day. You should too. Stop drinking weak coffee. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee today. Again, that is blackoutcoffee.com/Haley. Use code Haley for 20% off your first order. All right. There's a lot of protesting going on. These ones aren't covered in baby oil dancing outside of Diddy's courthouse, but they are dancing and they're fighting ICE while doing it. Watch this. So here's some no ICE protesters, and they're doing their best flash mob style.
I believe that's Achy Breaky Heart. I could be wrong. That's old Billy Ray Cyrus. Chad don't know about that.
It's interesting. They did it. They stopped ICE. They stopped ICE. I don't know. I think they did it. I think they did it, everyone. Here's also, I think you may remember, the Harry Sissons of the world. They're these liberal, they're bought and paid for by these Democrat organizations. They're essentially Biden influencers. Harry Sisson and his sidekick, I guess, one of his little liberal friends. This is Chris Mowry. He was talking about these ICE protests and everything going on with ICE, and here he is getting owned. Watch this.
We just learned that a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old, all U.S. citizens, all born in the United States, were deported this week.
Chris, that's because their parents were illegal immigrants, and their parents were being deported, which means that if they didn't deport the kids with the parents, then they would be separating families. The families would be separated. You remember when you guys were so mad and accused the president of putting kids in cages and separating families? Well, he decided to stop separating families, and now you're still mad, so it seems like maybe this is a you problem and not a we problem. So yeah, do I think that U.S. citizens should be deported with their families if they're underage? Yeah. But because they're American citizens, if they want to come back when they turn 18, they can.
Amen. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? How the left, they're so hypocritical. It's like, they're crying. AOC is staging her cry session outside of the Obama-installed cages about kids in cages. Oh, boo-hoo. These kids are getting separated. Well, not anymore. Now, if the parents are held accountable for crimes that they've committed, well, the family's sticking together and you're all going home. That's how it works. But there's been a lot of backlash with this Florida ICE detention center, migrant detention center, Alligator Alcatraz. A lot of people, a lot of leftists, all of a sudden very concerned about this. Again, they were not concerned when Obama was doing this, but they're concerned because this is a red state, Florida. This is Governor Ron DeSantis, and this is Trump's immigration policy being enforced. Now, of course, they don't like it. Here's huge liberal talking about how they're very concerned about the weather here. Watch this. Number 7. So now you can see there's a bunch of water on the ground inside Alligator Alcatraz. And Ed Krasenstein on X is very concerned. What are they going to do in this rain? There's already, we're heading into monsoon season and hurricane season. And again, here's another TikToker, Photo 8, concerned about what's happening when hurricanes hit. This is the quote, is no one going to talk about what happens if a Category 3 or higher hurricane hits Alligator Alcatraz? 5,000 people trapped in tents with nowhere to run. How will they survive the flood and the storm? These are the same tents, by the way, that they set up during hurricanes. I don't know if they know that, but these are like FEMA tents that they set up when Florida does get hit by hurricanes. So I think they're okay. The floor is a little wet, but I think it's okay. People in the chat are saying, alligators like water, add more gators.
That's just got to pull up a little bit, and those gators will be able to, swim on in.
And I just also want to note that I looked at a CNN article this morning. Even CNN reported that state officials are developing evacuation plans for the Alligator Alcatraz facility in the event of severe weather during what forecasters are saying could be a busy hurricane season, which I think it usually is in Florida, but looks like everything's under control. And let's talk about, other prisons and schools and buildings in South Florida during hurricane season. Most buildings have an evacuation plan. So I think if the government is setting up essentially a prison, they're going to have an evacuation plan. And like I said, CNN even reported that they're on it. So don't worry about it. But leftists are saying that this is an inhumane concentration camp and that history is repeating itself. Watch this. This woman is saying they used to call black children gator bait. Now they're placing black and brown migrants near alligators in this remote detention center. History doesn't repeat. And they're blaming Trump, J.D. Vance, Christine Holmes, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan spelled wrong, DeSantis, Byron Donalds, this person's just blaming everybody because it's everybody's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. This is not about race. It never was. But the left are race obsessed. They're freaks, and they'll turn whatever narrative into whatever to make Trump look worse. I've shown photos on this show of white Australians that have been deported by DHS. It does not matter what color you are or where you came from. If you're here without a visa, or you let it lapse, or you jumped the border, or you never went through the process or never finished the process of becoming a citizen, you are subject to deportation. You will be arrested, you will be detained, you will be deported. Prisons aren't meant to be cushy. It's not supposed to be, air conditioned, comfy hotel bedding. Like, that's not what this is. They're not cushy. And it's very convenient that, again, none of these liberals cared when Obama was doing it. You can Google images of the kids in cages during Obama, people sleeping on the floor in sleeping bags, what have you. He was deporting illegals, putting them in the cages, as the left like to call them. Just very convenient. Very convenient. Now, this TikToker, and this video has been since deleted. So we've got a screenshot that I took. Is it small? Do you have it? This TikToker claims a few days ago, a neighbor told me that his cousin was offered a contracting job to install a ton of incinerators into Alligator Alcatraz. I made a video establishing it as an alleged rumor. After listening to Caroline Levitt talk about it today, I can't consider it alleged anymore. Well, that video has since been taken down, claiming that she knows someone who was hired by someone to install a ton of incinerators at Alligator Alcatraz. I could not find any reputable sources saying anything like this. And if you compare anything in modern day history to the Holocaust, I automatically stop listening to what you have to say. It's a gross exaggeration. The detention centers are not targeting people based on any specific race. These are people who have attempted to bypass immigration law. That is it. They are not being exterminated or held for no reason. They're being detained while they await trial. If you don't like it, don't come here illegally. It's not a death camp, but if you attempt to escape, you might die at the hands of whatever Mother Nature has coming for you outside. This is another potentially false claim that is being spread on TikTok. I'm saying that it's potentially false. I haven't seen anything confirming it, but these are rumors that are being spread. This person garnered almost 1 million likes on this video. That means more than 1 million people have seen it. Watch this.
Guys, they're throwing the deportees out of the planes and into the ocean. No, this is not a drill. No, this is not fear-mongering. They're shackling people, flying out into open ocean and throwing them out, okay? The flight patterns, there's people tracking them on this app. The flights going out with the deportees, watching them go out to open ocean and circle back. A family in Italy saw 5 shackled bodies wash up on the shore.
What? I mean, truly? And millions of people are buying this crap that our government is shackling people. And when they say this, by the way, when you're committing crimes and you're arrested, you might be handcuffed when they're taking you from place to place, okay? Now, they're claiming, of course, this is inflammatory language, that they're being shackled, they're being shipped off on these planes, which, of course, cargo planes are used to transport people. This is obvious. But they're claiming that these flights are just going into the middle of the ocean, kicking the migrants off so that they drown and die, and then they're turning back around and doing it again. Again, no reputable sources are claiming this. If we find out that it's true one day, I will eat crow. But again, these are just lies that are being spread on TikTok, and it's a little scary that people are believing it. Now, I want to get into some more fun content because I saw this meme on Instagram today about Alligator Alcatraz, and this is the #1 draft pick. Watch this. with the first pick in the 2025 Alligator Alcatraz draft. And it is a massive, that is a big boy. That is a big, big boy. Whew.
We're just commentating on this.
I know,
Family
I
from
can
the
hear you.
Everglades,
Share with the class.
weighing in at 16 feet long American alligator. I mean, that's a big dude. So, I mean, welcome, my friend.
Someone in the chat said it was a true story. I saw there were reports of shackled bodies showing up on the coast of Spain, and those were migrants from North Africa. So, again, are these people from the United States of America being dropped in the middle of the ocean? Again, that is not confirmed. Just saying. Now, I want to get into tinfoil hat time, and I am not putting on my tinfoil hat today because it'll mess up my hair, but let's get into it. This will be the only tinfoil hat I wear.
Oh, we're so close.
So close to getting it on my head, but it's fine. All right, lots of people are seeing some glitter, some sky glitter, and this is taking place in Florida. So this one was in St. Petersburg, Florida. Watch this. Gorgeous sunset, by the way. And when you zoom in and you see these gorgeous colors, pink, blue, looks like sort of like a lightning strike there. But very small, you can see these like glowing orbs almost darting in and out of the clouds. And interesting. No one really knows what it is, but I'm going to pull up the comments here and see if people can figure it out. And the text on the video says, "Can someone explain what I saw in the sky last night?" And people just are saying, Jesus is coming soon. It's a huge battle in the sky. Trust me, it's happening. That is a battle of angels and demons. Don't worry. It's just a galactic war that's going on above us. No need to panic or worry. We're safe. The Lord is coming back. Oh, my Jesus, please don't leave me behind. I can get behind that. People in the chat are saying it's aliens, Smurf balls.
Nobody said a solar flare or something like that. You know what I mean? Some sort of
I don't know, but there were so many of them. And then I want to show you this other video, number 13. This is more sky glitter, also in Florida. I don't know where in Florida, but it was posted
something
6
like
days
this.
ago.
There's like tens
You
of
can
thousands
see
of these
this.
reflective objects in the air. I thought they were birds at first, but looking closer, it's literally just these reflective objects.
In the
What is
clouds.
this? It's all coming closer here, so I'm gonna get out of here.
He's like, I got to get out of here. I don't know what this is, but I'm not sticking around to find out.
That is the light from the ground bouncing up and hitting the underside of the birds. So you're not seeing like the top of it. You're seeing it's a thing.
Really?
Google it, promise. Yeah. But it also could
Well,
be
Google
something
it.
crazy.
Justin will Google it.
Google it. Fact check me.
Let's fact check
Justin,
Andy
fact
right
check me.
now. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like fireworks. It doesn't look like anything like that. It's weird. People were saying that, because this was posted 6 days ago, people were saying that there was a recent tornado in Largo, Florida, so it could have been debris from the tornado, but it does look very reflective. I don't know. I don't know, man. Did I send that one to myself? No. Oh, yes, I did. Do you want to pull up my iPad? I'm going to zoom in so that people can maybe see this better. See these like glowing? You think those are birds, Andy?
I could believe that argument if we're trying to debunk it. I could believe that argument, but I could also believe those are totally aliens.
That looks like, it's almost like confetti. It looks like confetti floating around. You know?
It's birds or aliens.
It's not birds.
Somebody in the chat said debris. That could be a
That's
good
what
option.
I said, because
that
it
could be
was
a good option.
it could have been debris from this tornado that happened around the same time. So, debris or aliens, We'll never know. Now, other people across the Southeast have been reporting, and Midwest have been reporting galactic bombs, as they're calling them, but these very loud noises that they can't put their finger on what they are. Doesn't sound like thunder to me. Doesn't sound like fireworks to me. I know we're getting close to the 4th of July. I know people buy their fireworks. They test them. They send them off. What do we think this is? Watch.
This is not fireworks. Fireworks don't sound like this. Can y'all hear this? Oh my God, what in the entire... What the fuck? Y'all, what is going on? Wow. Okay. Who else in Atlanta? Who else in Atlanta is witnessing this right now? Do y'all hear this? That's not fireworks.
Pull up the chat. Do we have anyone in the Atlanta area?
Because it sounds like something is swooshing through the sky, like, and then you hear the boom, 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 boom. And it doesn't sound like fireworks, because when fireworks swoosh through the sky, it's more of a like that. But y'all,
I'm sorry. That's what I wanted you to hear, because it was just the scientific diagnosis of that, I think, is really going to get to the bottom of this mystery.
No, and I do appreciate her impersonation of the fireworks. It did help. I don't know. What do we think?
Well,
it sounds like construction, like them dropping stuff. That's what it sounds like to me. It does not, I'll agree with her, does not sound like thunder, does not sound like fireworks. But it sounds like something that could be debunked, for sure.
Thunder can roll, though, too. Just being from the mountains, like thunder can roll down. So those don't sound like what your traditional like thunder claps do. You know what I mean? But like it does.
But that doesn't sound
in the
like
rolling hills, and Atlanta's in there. Atlanta's in that region. I mean, there's you can have rolling thunder like that.
That
but you're
didn't
not buying
sound
it.
like rolling thunder to me, though. Again. So someone in the chat said, or someone in the comments said, people are hearing it all over the country. Sounds like space wars. The news won't report anything about that. Well, here I am in the new media. I got you, girl. Notice how the skies have been cloudy and smoky for months. They said it was from Canada's fires. Now I'm wondering if it was to hide something. I love when the conspiracy theories, they just go off in the chat.
I love it. She probably lives right across the street from Hartsfield Jackson and doesn't know.
Maybe. Plot twist, it's the fourth dimension crashing with the third. It might be Revelation 12 happening. Spiritual war. I don't know. Is anyone in the chat? Can you throw up the chat for me so I can see it? Let's see if anyone has heard anything like this. Anyone in the Atlanta area? Someone just said Atlanta is tearing down a hospital. It sounds like construction dropping stuff. That's what I think.
I mean, that's a lot of dropping.
It is a lot of dropping.
Because it goes on for like a period of time. It doesn't sound like a controlled explosion. So that I don't know.
So what's your spiritual take on it then, if it's not something of this world?
Well, wonders and signs in the skies. I mean, that's written down. I think like that's something that'll happen. And so I don't know. I mean, lights and sounds and I mean,
someone in the chat said Lily Tito dropping.
Chat wins
so
that.
True.
That's a winner.
So true. On that note, let's go to the next crazy thing that people are seeing in the sky. This is a black smoke ring that people are saying looks like Jesus's crown.
I don't know. It's like a black ring or something.
What is that?
It's like there's like smoke around it and stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. And people are saying in the chat, looks like his thorn crown. Jesus has returned. Finally, the veil is lifting. It could be a throne. Repent and trust in God, the crown of Jesus. People are put Jesus' thorn crown. Again, lots of people. Someone said it's a Stargate. Doctor Strange has arrived. And then other people are just saying it's literally a black ring of smoke, y'all. Some people saying it's Dementors from Harry Potter playing Ring Around the Rosie. I did see a local news report on this, and they did say that it was due to some sort of an explosion, because the way that, when like an H-bomb goes off and it leaves, the
That feels like it's too perfectly
mushroom
intact. And it just it hangs out up there for like a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, but I guess with...
Look at that. That's like perfectly symmetrical,
I know,
perfectly intact.
But with the
it
pressure...
It doesn't look like it's dissipating if it's smoky. I don't know. That's weird. This one's weird to me.
But with the pressure in the sky, and I'm not a scientist, but, this could linger from an explosion of some sort. Someone in the chat just said pretty cool. Yeah. I mean...
But
it is cool.
It would be funny that in his video that he failed to comment on the fact that he did not hear an explosion. You know what I'm saying? So if something blew up, it's like, bro,
like obviously,
why didn't you hear something blow up?
2 + 2 = 4, but yeah. Someone said I lived near Fort Bragg, and when they practiced, it was loud like that. Yeah, so maybe this is by some kind of military facility, testing facility, construction. It could be a lot. It could be a lot of things. And, like I said, a lot of people in this chat, they're saying that it's because Jesus is back. And now this is a video that someone caught on camera of what looks like a figure walking in the clouds. Watch this.
Right there.
See that? Looks like someone's standing in the sky, just walking. All right, I'm going to ask you to bring up my iPad because I'm going to zoom in while I play this video so you guys can see it a little closer.
Yeah, I was waiting on her to do that. Like, she didn't zoom in.
See it? Oops. It looks like it's someone walking. Don't you think? Sorry, I'm trying to zoom in and it does kind of look like someone walking. It is moving, too. I don't know.
That's a UAP.
What is that? Unidentified aerial phenomenon?
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Disclosure's coming, chat. It's coming.
And now people are saying, again, I hope it is Jesus. The world needs him. When Jesus returns, all eyes will see him. When Jesus comes, the whole world will see. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But this is what I love about tinfoil hat time, because we get to just speculate and look at the... I was scrolling and all these videos kept coming up. I kept adding things to tinfoil hat time. Now this next one, so this requires a little bit of backstory now. So there is a hair salon called J Palm, and they are known for being very woke. This video went massively viral of the owner of the hair salon asking for consent to touch the customer, which is kind of a prerequisite when you get your hair cut. They need to touch you in order to get a haircut, but here we go. So let's just watch this so you can be on the same page.
Yeah? Okay, cool. And what are your pronouns?
They, them.
She, they. I'm glad we exchanged those.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad that you came in today to give me the opportunity to talk about what it's like when we grow out our hair from a shaved head.
Mm-hmm. I've seen enough.
That's what happened, right? You said that in your message?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be so beyond woke, like, you... What do you mean, can I touch you?
I don't have any words on that. Like, that is wild to me.
What do you mean? What if she said no?
Maybe I have, it's crazy. Like, that is absolutely.
No, let's walk through that scenario. Hey, Can I touch your hair?
No.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. I just identified as me getting a haircut.
And if you wanted to cancel your appointment, you have to pay in full because it was less than 24 hours notice. So, give me my
tip.
money and we'll be out the door.
My hair is now identifying as cut. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure doing business with you. Anyway, so that's the hair salon. And now this TikTok user is claiming that she had a bad experience at this hair salon. And then when she went back to get her hair recut, there were all of these demonic, decorations. There was salt around the chair. And maybe this hairstylist put a hex on her. Watch this.
Put your finger down if you went to get a haircut last year and instead maybe you got a voodoo curse put on you. My first appointment was great. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is really cool. This is really cool. And then I get home and I look at it because when the haircut was finished, they just had me pay and leave. I didn't really get a chance to put my fingers through it and see if it was right. And there were some things that were wrong about it. And so I messaged them and I was like, hey, can we get a touch up? And they were like, sure. And I go in and they spend the entire time being like, I actually did this right. You're wrong. And I walked in the room. There was a giant sign that says, abandon hope, all ye who enter. And there was a ring of salt around my chair, and there was salt in front of the mirror in front of me and on the countertop in front of me. And there was a mirror behind me that had a giant pentagram covering the entirety of it. There was a pentagram on the floor in front of me, 3 pentagrams in the corner of the mirror in front of me. And next to that line of salt on the countertop was some candles and voodoo doll looking things. There's also a skeleton. I think the skeleton may have been there during the first appointment. I think that might have just been part of their decor. And then halfway through the appointment, they left to go to the bathroom. When they left, the music switched from being pop music or elevator music to the kind of music you would hear in a haunted house where it's whisper chanting in a different language. I just felt very uncomfortable and unsafe the entire time that I was there for that second appointment.
Very strange. So she goes to this woke hair salon where they ask, can I touch you? Yes or no? And she says, hey, I didn't like my haircut, goes back. And now she has all these demonic things, salt around her chair. I mean, it's insane. People are saying, but you went back. That stuff wasn't there the first time. She came back for her second haircut and all of the stuff appeared. That's the crazy part. I think they were trying to scare her off. I think they were annoyed that she came back to get her haircut fixed because they thought that they can do no wrong because they're liberal loonies. And they're probably very offended that she said that she didn't like the haircut. So she thought, okay, well, I'm going to make this customer never want to come back. And this is how you lose customers.
I agree. I've not
And this is all alleged for legal reasons. This is a joke, allegedly. I am not getting a hex put on me because I covered this story.
No hexes.
And I'm not getting a lawsuit.
I've walked out of a coffee shop, though, when we were touring because we went into a coffee shop and it had all kinds of these voodoo witchcraft vibes.
Was it in New Orleans?
No, it was in Asheville, North Carolina. And I hate to use this word, there was an energy change when you walked through the door. It was not spiritual or whatever. It was very not no thanks. Next one. So, I mean, that could be real.
Yeah. I don't know. Bad vibes. Someone in the chat said Asheville is woke. It's a very liberal.
Very. Yeah. And somebody
area.
said it's all, witches and stuff like that. That Wicca is that happens in that specific city all the time. That's a major area for that.
Yeah. I'm not getting involved in any of that. No. All right. Let's get into some scrolling time. All right, earlier this week, I think it was on Monday, I played a video of a professionally disabled couple. And, they're they, them, it. I have no idea which way either of them are transitioning. All I know is they're somewhere in the middle of a transition because I don't know what sex they are. And they're together. But one of the people said that they are very disabled. They have all these issues. They can't work. And their partner, again, don't know if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, is getting paid by the government to take care of this professionally disabled partner. And how is this person disabled? You may ask. Well, they are autistic and bipolar, and they've got like all these issues that they claim allow them to not work. Now, in the video, they were talking about how wearing socks makes her cry. She can't get dressed, which I will say people who are severely depressed might not be able to get dressed. I don't want to make fun of this person for that. But here's an update on the professionally disabled couple who's getting government assistance to take care of themselves. Watch this.
Yeah, a bunch of people are asking why we're getting evicted, and it's because we're disabled. We can't keep jobs, and we missed rent multiple occasions, multiple months. And I always paid half. And I didn't send my half this month, and I thought I did. And that was their last straw. We just talked to the landlord's wife a couple weeks ago, and she said that if they went back on their word.
They went back on their word?
So we have a couple of weeks to find a new place with no money. And they know that we don't have money because
you didn't pay.
They're not getting rent. And I keep blaming myself because I had a manic episode. I went through a lot of money that should have went towards rent.
It's all starting to make sense.
So it's gonna be a bad couple of weeks. And
right.
Jay, he has PTSD about being unhoused. So this is triggering him a lot.
So his partner has PTSD about being unhoused, but he refuses to fire his partner as his employee because in the previous video, he declared that
he was getting paid to take care of it.
He worked for him.
Yeah. Listen, it was a lot of words to say we didn't pay our rent and that's why we're getting evicted. It's not, well, I'm disabled and I cry every time I put socks on and I can't put clothes on and I need my partner who's getting paid by the government to put my clothes on for me. And no, you can't keep a job for whatever reason. You didn't have enough money. He, whatever, even said they had the money, spent it on other things. Don't feel bad for you. I'm not going to shed a tear for people getting evicted. You blew your rent money on whatever. She claims it's because it's of a manic episode. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. Not crying about it. All right.
Put it all on black.
What?
He bet it all on black.
Oh, probably.
Maybe they bought maybe they brought who's a super woke musician. They bought concert tickets that they couldn't afford.
The red jumpsuit apparatus.
That's it. Yeah, it wasn't Morgan Wallen. They ain't going to see Wallen.
The band from the 90s that said if you voted for Trump, they don't want you to come to their shows. That's who they spent all their money on. All right, I'm going to play a video of a man in a jester costume playing the cello on a telephone pole. I'll let you all in the chat guess what state this is taking place in. Watch. Dinner and a show. Did you hear the cop say, buddy, you better get down? Here he is coming down. Uh-oh. Here he comes. Now, everyone in the chat is guessing correctly that this is California, California. People are guessing, uh-oh, Portland, Seattle, but it is California. Wow.
I swear I thought that was East Tennessee. I mean, I thought I knew that guy for
Really?
a second. Yeah, no, really. I mean, there's some off the rocker people up in them parts.
Damn. What is his band name called? We need people in the chat.
The Poles.
He is working the pole, but not in the way that you would think. Not in the way that you would think.
What's he doing wrong? I mean, you can climb a.
People
I mean,
in the
obviously
chat-
everything looked right there.
People in the chat were saying, not illegal, by the way. Someone else said, no tip jar, doing it for the love of the game, which I do appreciate. And I do think that he's doing it for mental illness reasons. Maybe not the love of the game. I think maybe he just has nothing better to do. Is he employed or is he getting money from the government?
I think that I agree with Justin. I think this cat is stone cold sober, and he's just a man of the people, playing some 16 feet in the air slap bass.
Someone in the chat or in the comments said, art is supposed to make you feel something. Nervous is something. Which is true. I feel a little uneasy watching that. God forbid a pole gesture catch a vibe. Bro just reminded me I have free will. I mean, we could just do this whenever you want, you know? The world isn't ready for Goblin Core, and it's sad. This must feel so liberating. Social anxiety is afraid of this man. I mean, he was getting into a little, screamo mode. You know? He was doing some weird chanting and whatnot. I feel like, someone said completely legal, by the way. Didn't know this was a career option when I was a kid. Can you imagine that call as the police? There's a jester on a power pole. What? He's playing the kazoo.
So
and the cello at the same time.
This feels refreshingly apolitical, but also awesome. So if this guy wants to climb a palm tree or a power pole here in Florida, come on down, man. Seriously.
Someone said, buddy, you better get down, because that's what the police said, and then it's just kazoo noises. Someone said, can I book you for a wedding? Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed. That's California for you. All right, this last one. This is a woman. She's 24 years old. She asked the internet, and this is her first mistake, asked the internet for fashion advice. So we'll play that. We'll show you this video. Or a photo, I guess. This is a girl. She's got these ugly shoes on. If you could just play. Oh, let's do 22. Sorry, I'm skipping around. I'm just going to end on 22. All right, so she asked the internet, y'all be honest, are these shoes ugly? Context, 24 years old, business casual, office attire. And I'll just give you my thoughts off the top of my head. Yes, I'm going to answer the question. Yes, these are ugly. I hate that she's got the no-show socks showing. They're not age appropriate, I think, for a 24-year-old. I think if you're 124 years old, probably perfect.
Say, they're giving some Plymouth Rock vibes to me, those shoes.
Well, you're not alone, Andy, because people were pretty brutal in the comments. They may be more appropriate for Thanksgiving, ... the first one. Is your next meeting on Plymouth Rock? Do you have them delivered to your Gettysburg address? This comment section is like the Salem shoe trials. You got them George Washington Force Ones. They would be cute if they were a different shoe. Are those the Emancipation Proclamations by Steve Madden? They're fine if your job is to light the town lanterns at dusk. When you work 9 to 5, but you got to get to Plymouth Rock by 5:30. You can't wear those shoes with pants. We aren't allowed to wear pants yet. I think Lord Farquaad would wear these for all my Shrek fans out there. Those are the Plymouth Rock 5000s or 500s, the Puritan Pushers, the Salem Steppers, Turkey Stuffer 1s. Are those Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death shoes? Make sure to pair these with a Founding Father low ponytail. Totally agree. You got to get the hairstyle.
1 by land, 2 by sea.
Just a powdered wig would make the look just perfect. Someone asked me in the chat, Haley, you don't have a pair. Do you think look at what I'm wearing today, and when I wear these shoes, come on. 7 years ago, our father brought forth these shoes, the Quaker Oats loafers. Are you on your way to sign the Declaration of Independence? Berries and cream. Depends. Do you happen to work at the end of a rainbow? Those are some Here Yeezys. Here Yeezys.
That's the best one.
What a 16th century rapper wears to court. I have these, but in tan. I'm throwing them away immediately after reading the comments.
Here's my question, Haley. Is that woman serious, or is this sort of like an internet gag thing? Or do you actually think she went like out to dinner with those clodhoppers?
No, I think these are her work shoes. And she
What did she churn butter? Where does she work?
This is what someone said. She asked, y'all be honest, are these shoes ugly? And someone said, not if your job is to warn the townspeople that the British are coming. Then they're
1 by
perfect.
land, 2 by sea.
Then they're perfect. Someone in the chat said, Ben Franklin wore those when he discovered electricity. Oh, man. Ye footwear, 'tis splendid, milady. Did this administration take us that far back? And that's when liberals ruin the joke. All of a sudden, it's not funny anymore. Thanks a lot, liberals. And on that note, thank you for scrolling along with me. I had so much fun on the show tonight. I hope you did too. You can watch every weeknight, Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Rumble. Rumble.com/Haley will take you to the Bongino Report channel. Listen on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Listen whenever you want. Just search Nightly Scroll with Haley. In the meantime, follow me on social media. Sometimes I post some behind the scenes of us getting ready for the show. I'll post my workouts. I'll post me getting ready for the show. All the behind-the-scenes content at Haley Karania on most platforms, all the cool platforms. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow.